about to go live on TikTok in just a second here, and we'll get things officially started. But guess what time it is, guys? It is officially March. March is officially here, and I cannot wait. So many. It's just been insane already. What we've seen the last this past weekend, and now early this week has just been nuts. Conference championships are here. Sorry, just trying to get TikTok live rolling. Here we go. But March is officially here. March Madness is just about to begin in just a few weeks. But we have to finish off conference championships. Recapping yesterday a bit on the games yesterday. First off, 3-0 on the bets. 3-0 on the bets on the card that I posted down here. Queens plus 8.5 covered. Detroit Mercy murdered IUPUI. And we'll talk about Antoine Davis in just a moment. And then the two-legger of Virginia Moneyline and Duke Moneyline also both hit. So it was a great day. I hit Boise State. If you follow me on Twitter, lost one of my private plays, but it's fine. I lost one play all day yesterday. I was up and on. I was so happy with the results yesterday. But let's talk about the bubble. Let's talk about the situation that we have on the bubble. Nothing really changed yesterday. Clemson kind of with that loss. They're going to have to win the ACC if they're going to want to make the tournament. I don't see them winning the ACC. I don't see Clemson making the tournament this year. It's just the unfortunate matters of the situation for them. And it's weird because they have a pretty good conference. They have a pretty good record overall, but they didn't win a lot of the big games. And, when you're not a program that's historically had success in the tournament, you have to win. You have to earn it. You have to earn it at a different pedigree than a school like North Carolina does or a school like Michigan does. Teams that have shown the consistent success in the tournament. Because this isn't like college football. It's not necessarily just always what teams deserve it the most. So, but now we're in the situation where that situation for Clemson, unfortunately. Let's take a look at the bubble, actually. Let's just pull up a bubble graphic. Bubble watch. I would put Clemson in contention, I guess. They're kind of, in that contention spot. I would say right now, my last four in, Mississippi State, I believe they took care of business in their game matchup last night. Let's say Mississippi State. Let me double check to make sure Mississippi State won. Actually, they might not have. I didn't get to watch a ton of college basketball. I was commentating my school's playoff basketball games, won them both. Mississippi State did win by 6. They held on to beat South Carolina. So I would say Mississippi State. I would say my first two teams out right now are Duke and Michigan. Those are my first two teams out. If North Carolina is able to beat Duke North Carolina and Michigan. If North Carolina is able to beat Duke on Saturday, I think they might just push themselves right back into the tournament. North Carolina would have 2 quad 1 wins. They would have played some of the more quad 1 games than a lot of teams. They would have been at 9, I believe. They have a lot of solid quad 2 losses. Michigan could bump back into a quad 1 team. They might end up staying at a quad 2, but either way, that's a high-level quad 2 win against a team like Michigan. That's going to come into consideration. If it's between Michigan, North Carolina, and Arizona State, Michigan's going to get the downgrade because Michigan lost to both schools. And then you have North Carolina versus Arizona State. Pick your poison on that one. But overall, not a lot of bubble action yesterday. Clemson, like I said, lost. They were a team on the bubble. And then the other team on the bubble, Mississippi State, also won their matchup last night. But now I want to roll over and talk about another conference tournament, the Big South. The Big South kicks off their conference tournament today. There's a conference that, I don't see whoever wins this conference as a real threat to do anything in March. I could be wrong. You never know. You never know what's going to happen come March. But let's roll into it. Obviously, my favorite is probably the same as everybody's favorite. It's UNC Asheville. They have been the best team overall in the conference this entire season. So they're my favorite to win. They're my pick to win the entire tournament. Somebody said to me yesterday, you just pick the favorites. I guess I just picked the favorites, but at the same time, it's like they're the favorites for a reason. These guys are the 1 seeds because throughout the whole season, they've been the most dominant team in the conference. UNC Asheville's 24-7 overall, 16-2 in the conference. Nobody's dominated their conference like UNC Asheville. So I do think UNC Asheville, They are going to be my favorite. I mean, they lost to Winthrop earlier in the year, and then they lost to USC Upstate a few weeks ago. I mean, they lost to Arkansas this year. They lost to a couple out of conference games, lost to Georgia State. But overall, they put up a pretty solid resume. I think they win this conference pretty handily. But a team that I think people are sleeping on is Gardner Webb because of what they can do on the defensive end. They've been the second best defensive team in the conference all season, just behind, obviously, UNC Asheville. They're the team I think that can give UNC Asheville the most trouble on defense. Their offense scares me a little bit. It does indeed. Like, I'm a little nervous about their offense and if their offense is going to be able to hang around. But I think their defense is going to be able to get the job done. I mean, they allow the second least amount of shots in the entire conference. And they have some good guys. Caleb Robinson is a sophomore guard. He's been pretty, or sophomore forward. I'm sorry. He's been pretty solid. Another thing that Gardner Webb does is they rebound. They don't allow a lot of offensive rebounds against them. They take care of the rebounds on the defensive end. And then on offense, they are the second highest offensive rebounding team in the conference. So with guys like Caleb Robinson, I'm very excited. Their guard play is going to be a huge thing, though. Can DQ Nichols get the job done for them running the point? Is he able to take care of business for them? He's kind of emerged as the starting point guard or as the significant contributor. Julian Samaro is another key factor on the guard. The guard play is going to be huge for them. Or DQ Nichols is the shooting guard. I'm sorry. He plays a little bit of point guard, but the guard play of Julian and DQ is going to be huge for Gardner Webb if they're going to want to make a run. Anthony Seldon's another guy. Kareem Reed, their starting five is going to be vital. Their starting five is going to have to take up a lot of minutes because they're going to get killed on the bench game against UNC Asheville. But overall, I do think Gardner Webb is going to be my sleeper to win this conference tournament. I really like the way I really like their position in this tournament. I really like what they're able to do on the defensive end, what they're able to do on the boards. But I really think that this is a going to be a pretty smooth set tournament. Don't imagine seeing a ton of upsets. I think that Gardner Webb might be able to give UNC Asheville trouble, but UNC Asheville's going to the tournament. They're winning this conference. I don't really think it's going to be that particularly close. So give me UNC Asheville to win. Gardner Webb, though, is going to be my sleeper team for the tournament. Next up, we'll go to the NEC tournament, the Northeastern Conference tournament. This is a conference that I'm not too familiar with. I mean, I've tried to watch a little bit of their games yesterday. I tried to watch some old games of theirs to see what they're able to see how strong this conference is, and I got to find them. One thing KenPom needs to add is searching a conference. Because I shouldn't have to scroll down every time. Hey, Kenneth, if you're listening, which I'm sure you are, please, can you fix this? Yo, what's up, Juan? Thank you, man. I appreciate it. Hope all is well with you too, my guy. I wish they would really, really add the ability to search conferences. There it is. This is a very weak conference. I won't lie to you. First thing that jumps out, Merrimack and Fairleigh Dickinson are the favorites. But here's the thing. Fairleigh Dickinson is a very, very good team on offense. I think that they're going to be able to beat Merrimack if it comes down to it. So I am going to go with Fairleigh Dickinson as my favorite to win the tournament. They have been insane on offense, led by Dimitri Roberts. This team, I mean, I watched a good amount of them. They're the one team who I've watched a decent amount of. They shoot the ball well. They make their free throws, which is big because there's a lot of times down the stretch where you see teams blow up because they don't make their free throws. They're one of the best free throw shooting teams in the entire country, actually. Their defense is a little questionable. They allow a lot of shots to be taken. That's where I get my concern with them in the long run, is if they're going to be able to hold up defensively. But they've already swept Merrimack. They beat them by 7 on the road, and they beat them by 8 at home. I think they will take care of business. If they end up meeting Merrimack now, this is going to be a conference that we're going to see a lot of fluctuation. We could see a lot of upsets here and there. We could see teams go down. And one team I really, really like, to pull off any upsets in that conference would be Wagner. I really like this Wagner team. Coming in, Wagner, the thing about Wagner is can be a defensive problem for teams like Fairleigh Dickinson. That's what you're going to need to be to pull off upsets. You have to be a defensive problem. They don't allow a lot of shots. They get a lot of rebounds. They force a lot of turnovers. Forcing turnovers is what's going to help underdogs win games in March. We are now in March. Where this is not January basketball anymore. This is March basketball. If you can't force turnovers, if you can't hit your free throws, if you can't get rebounds, you are going to get dog walked. Wagner can do all those things. I think Wagner's going to have a ton more. Wagner's already beaten teams like Temple, which say what you want about them. They were a solid team this year. They took Army to the ropes. Seton Hall manhandled them. But, I mean, they've lost to Fairleigh Dickinson. They did get blown out the first time. Their offense is going to run into some problems. That's my fear with Wagner is, are they going to be able to handle Fairleigh Dickinson and teams like that on the offensive end? Now, they did beat Fairleigh Dickinson at Fairleigh Dickinson. I don't know what went on with that. It was weird. But what are they going to do on their offensive end? Delani Hunt and Brandon Brown are going to have to pull through. They're going to have to be impact players come in this postseason run if they're going to want to make the tournament. I really do like the position Wagner's in, though. I really think they can make damage. I really think they can create some problems for teams. And I really think we could be seeing them go on a little run here and potentially even win the NEAC. But all in all, I think this is Fairleigh Dickinson's conference to lose. I really genuinely believe this is Fairleigh Dickinson's conference to lose. Oh, are you still with the Bozo takes? I don't know, bro. I don't know. I think this is still Fairleigh Dickinson conference to lose, and I think Wagner is going to be my sleeper team to win this conference. But only time will tell. Only time will tell with this. But now we'll switch over to the Ohio Valley Conference, which I will come out and say I did a ton of research on the Ohio Valley Conference overnight. This is a conference that whoever wins the conference is going to basically be a bye come March Madness. I don't see them standing a chance. Again, KenPom, can you please add search conferences to your system? I mean, this is just a trash conference. I don't want to say trash. This is a Division I conference, but in my opinion, this is probably the worst Division I conference in college basketball. Favorite to win, Morehead State. They're the only team that's going to have any chance of doing damage on either side, but they're not very good offensively or defensively. They're the best defensive team in the conference, and that's why they're my favorite to win. They're the best in almost every category except they don't cause a lot of turnovers, and that is where their weakness is going to be for Morehead State because they don't cause a lot of turnovers. And like I said, to win games in March, you have to cause a lot of turnovers. Can Morehead State cause those turnovers is going to be the question. So my favorite team to win is the team that doesn't turn the ball over a lot and is one of the best offenses in the conference, is the best offense in the conference. I'm sorry. And that's Southern Indiana. They're my dark horse to win this tournament. They are very, very good offensively. They shoot the ball well. They get to the free throw line. Their issue is they don't convert their free throws at a high enough rate. The second worst in the entire conference from the charity stripe. What's up? What's up, Nicholas? How you doing, my man? They're the second worst from the charity stripe in the entire conference. I don't know what they're going to be. Yes, sir, Dalton. Go Tar Heels. They're going to make a run, and they're going to win. I don't know if they're going to win the ACC, but they're going to make the tournament. Don't you worry. But I don't know if Southern Indiana is going to convert their free throws enough. They only converted at a 69% rate, which, like I said, the average right around is about 74, 75 is for a team. And when it comes to March, free throws and forcing turnovers, they take care of the basketball. They hit their mid-range shots. They're a solid three-point shooting team. They get to the basket. They offensive rebound at a very, very good rate, but they don't convert their free throws. So that is where I get concerned with them to be able to pull off an upset in this conference tournament. So that's why I still am pretty confident that Morehead State is going to win this conference. Because all in all, like I said, you're going to have to, and with Mark Freeman, who I think is the best player in the entire conference, just from looking at it, like I said, I don't have a ton of knowledge about this conference. Everything I've kind of known, I've researched in the last few days. But it's going to be tough for them. It's going to be really, really tough. I don't know how far they can actually go. I want to see them pull off the upset, but I think this is still Morehead State's conference to lose. And they're the only team I think can make any noise come March. And I could be completely wrong. You never know. It's called March Madness for a reason. Crazier things have happened. But for now, I'm going to say Southern Indiana is my dark horse to win the Ohio Valley Conference. And Morehead State is my favorite. And I believe Morehead State will be the winner of the Ohio Valley Conference. And now we'll switch over. Time for my plays of the day. We won 3-0 yesterday. Let's start off mid-major action. Wagner +2. Wagner +2 is my first play today. Give me 1 second. Sorry, I have my reasonings written. My reasoning behind my Wagner +2 was they are facing off against Sacred Heart, a team that they had, I believe, split with earlier in the season. They lost to them by 9, but they beat them by, they beat them by 10 at their place. So Wagner, you got to find spots here. I think Wagner's a better team. They're a team that I like a lot to go on a little run in their conference. Like I said, they're my dark horse, so I'm going to ride with them. Queens paid off. Queens, I know they're out now. They lost to Kennesaw State yesterday, but they won their first game. They covered their second game. Let's see if Wagner can pull off the same thing for me. We're going to go Wagner +2. Next up, I have my two-legger of the day, the two-piece. Get out your dipping sauce. It's time for the two-piece McNugget. And we'll start off now with it is going to be Providence moneyline and Kansas State moneyline. Kansas State is not going to lose tonight against Oklahoma. I am not very worried about that. I really like this Kansas State team coming into March. Their mixture of their guard play and then what they have with Keontae Johnson, who I think is one of the most underrated and underappreciated player in the entire country. He has a phenomenal story. And then we're talking about Providence. Providence Friars on the money line. It's their senior night. They're playing Xavier. They're my favorite team to back at home. They've been a wagon for me all year at home, and especially tonight on senior night. You think they're going to lose that senior night? You are nuts. Give me the Friars money line combined with Kansas State money line. And now the game of the day, Texas versus TCU. We're going to talk a little bit more about this game in just a moment. But sorry. What is going on here? I'm trying to KenPom once again. KenPom, great information though. I'm going to stop pooping on it. Anyway, this is a game that's going to be filled with points. These are two very, very good offenses and two weaker defenses. I believe they're the two worst rated defenses in the entire conference. Yes. These are two weak defenses. These are two weak defenses. I mean, Texas allows the most threes in the entire conference. And then for TCU, on the defensive end, these are two of the bottom, Kansas State, TCU has a solid defense. I mean, they're middle of the road defenses. They don't do anything spectacular. I mean, TCU doesn't foul a lot, which is good. Texas, I mean, they force a lot of turnovers, but they allow a lot of offense, second chance points. They foul a lot. I'm just going to be more comfortable if I sit here and I'm honest with the fact that I think this is going over the 149. I think it's going to go over the 149 pretty comfortably. Points. I'm talking this is going to be like 160. If this line was at 155, I probably would take the over. I'd probably take the over if this gets to if this was at 155. But at 149, feed me the over in the Texas-TCU game. I do think Texas wins this game. I know there's going to be people all over TCU, but I think Marcus Carr is going to really have Marcus Carr is going to have a really big game for Texas. And I really like the way Texas off. I mean, they have the number one they're tied for the number one offense in the entire country. The only thing is Texas issues, they don't get a lot of second chance opportunities, but they convert at the free throw line, which is good. They force a lot of turnovers. Those are key factors to winning games like this. So I do think Texas is going to win tonight. So I took them at +3 as well, but that's not on the official play, at least on here on my live stream plays. But Marcus Carr is currently ranked the fourth player in the conference behind Jalen Wilson, Marquise Noel of Kansas State, Keontae George. I think that's fair. I think that's fair to put him 4. But all in all, I really like my plays today. I really like the situation. And you know what? We're only going up from here. It is March. We will sleep in May. We will be back tomorrow with another episode of the Sports Rate talking all things college basketball. It was great to preview some of these smaller conferences today. I know it was a little bit of a shorter show, but, we're at that weird stage. This show's going to get longer. Once we get into March Madness, we're talking this is going to be like a 45-minute show because I've talked about every single March Madness game, and I'm going to have a play on every single March Madness game. I will bet on every single one, and we will see where we're at the end of it. Thank you guys for tuning in to